Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the July edition of our Catch Up with Keeper webinar series. So excited to see everyone as per usual. In fact, I think I'm even more excited than usual. We have a ton of great stuff, and it feels like the last month has been a long one. So excited to see y'all all here. Thanks so much for taking the time. Well, we are going to go ahead and get things started here. So once again, thank you all so much for taking the time. The way this works is, if this is your first ever Catch Up with Keeper webinar series, is we typically break this up into two parts. The first is I will walk through all of the new features in Keeper. And then the second is we will open things up to some Q&A. All right, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and dive on in. We have a lot of new stuff to showcase, so super excited about that. Well, I am going to get started with something that not all of you have access to yet, but is nonetheless probably the biggest visual change to Keeper in certainly in the last month, but in probably quite a good deal before that. And that is our new client portal design upgrade. So I'm going to toggle over into the new client portal, and I'll walk through a few of the changes. First is just an overall high-level UX UI improvement. So we've made the portal feel like a little bit more of a modern 21st century application. On the dashboard here, you can see we've just cleaned things up quite a bit. But I think really where I think most of the improvements, or like the most requested improvement has come, is in the experience of asking and answering questions. So now let me see if I can find maybe a better example here. So now in your questions, it looks and feels more like a chat, almost more like an inbox style experience. So basically, you can see this is sort of bad demo data here, but you can see any questions that were asked and then you can have a sort of back and forth chat style conversation here. So we can say we are an LLC, answer that, and it looks just like a normal chat style conversation, including timestamps. You can see when a question was asked, when a question was answered, who asked that question, who answered that question. So it should feel much more comfortable for your clients to go in. And you can also have sort of more fluid chat. So you can, instead of just leaving one message, you can leave a follow-up message. We can say maybe taxed as an S corp, in case that's relevant. One other new set of improvements I will talk about here is we also added all of these improvements to the mobile experience as well. So this is the web inspector version of the mobile experience. This is basically what it looks like. So also a much more polished, cohesive experience here. We took some core user flows and added them to this plus button here. So if you wanted to upload a photo, you can just click the plus and upload a photo, or ask a question as well. So just should be a much more intuitive experience overall for your clients to use. And one more thing I want to touch on is here you can see everything says Keeper Bookkeeping. This is a setting that you can actually change in your practice settings. So if we go here to Client Portal and go to Inbound Questions and Files, we can see we have this option that's checked called Show for Name for all responses. This is checked by default. So if you want your portal not to work this way, you actually need to go in and uncheck this setting. The reason this is unchecked or checked by default is that way, if you have customers and you don't want to, or if you have team members and you don't want, like you have different team members asking different questions and you want it all to feel like it's coming from the firm, if you leave the setting on, it will look like that. If you turn the setting off, then you'll see the actual asker and answerer of the question on this thread. However, that's the client portal side of things. On the bookkeeper side of things, you will actually see who asked the question and who answered it. So here we'll see this will show as Keeper Bookkeeping because that show for name for all responses is enabled, but we can see the actual answer was written by me. All right, and one last thing I will mention. So this is currently in a beta, so not even all of you have access to enable it. although broader access should be rolling out very soon. We just wanted to make this a little bit slower of a rollout so folks could basically opt in rather than be forced into the experience from day one. But if you are in the beta, you should see an option here to toggle to V2 branding. And then you basically need to go from V1 to V2. You can see the differences in the preview. And then when you're done, you just click save, and that will roll it out across your entire practice. All right. So that's that. Next, I'm going to talk about some stuff on the close page. In particular, I'm going to talk about some really cool new improvements we made for the account reconciliations. And in particular, so a lot of times when you're reconciling an account, what you did last month is relevant and helpful. And so we added this ability to compare the work you did on an account reconciliation task across prior periods for footnotes, comments, and files. So what does that mean? So for example, let's say we have this chase checking task here, and we have a footnote on the account, or we think we might want to leave a footnote. As a reminder, the difference between a footnote and a footnote goes onto the actual financial report that the client receives, whereas a comment is just internal for your own personal workflow. And so here, if we want to compare this footnote against what we left in the same period or on the same account in the prior month, we can click compare. And here we can see June 2022, this is the current period, against last month as well. So we can see last month we left this footnote, high checks in transit volume, makes this balance deviate from what you may see on the chase statement. And if we wanted to, we could just copy and paste this in and actually just update the footnote here. So I'm not going to do that, but it's super easy to do things like that with this footnote comparison. Same basic idea exists for comments and files. Really quickly, I'll run through what that looks like. So if you open up your comment thread, you can click this 3 dots right here and click compare. And here you can see any comments you've left in prior periods that might be relevant for how you're going to reconcile this account. All right, and last but not least, files. So here, once again, we've got those 3 dots. We can just click compare. And then here we can even see looks like bad demo data, but we can even see and click open the files that were in prior periods. So overall, goal is to help you just work out of the same single point of experience that you're currently working out of while being able to look back across prior periods. All right, and on that note, another thing that is accessible from the client list and pertains to workflow, I think folks are going to really like this one when you need it, and that is our task changelog. And actually, it's called our activity log, and it's going to go beyond just tasks. So right now, it's primarily focused on tasks. So basically, in this activity log, you can now see all of the changes you've made to anything in Keeper. Right now, it's like tasks and just pieces of tasks for now, but it's going to expand in scope over time. And so to see the activity log for a particular task, say we've got this run payroll task, we can click open this activity feed button right here, and this will show us any changes made, who they were made by, and what the change was. So here we can see earlier today, while I was setting up this example, I moved the run payroll task from not started to in progress. And then I also reassigned it from test user to Brett standard. So hopefully it should provide a lot more transparency into what's happening as a task is getting completed or a task is getting worked on. Similarly here, we've got our, it looks like we updated some details on the task. And so if you want to see the changes that you made on that, you can actually click this eyeball icon right here and see exactly what you did there. And so it looks like I just added checklist right here on this checklist item. So this is what the activity log looks like for a single task, although you can see the activity log for all of your tasks by going to your practice settings, and there's a new option here called activity log. And you can filter this as well if you just wanted to see within certain clients or within certain users, for example. So goal is to help you, I mean, much in the same way that QuickBooks has an activity log. This is Keeper's version of that for our own internal functionality. right. Next on the list, we have some really cool receipts improvements. So I'm going to start up here in the client uploads inbox and talk about the new ability to split receipts into multiple files. So let's say we've got a PDF here that has like 3 scanned receipts on it. I suspect if you have received files like this. And so what you actually want to do is you want to take each of these and turn them into their own separate documents. So now you can do that directly in Keeper. You just click More, and what you actually do is you duplicate this. And then you basically create a duplicate that just pertains to a particular page. So here we just want to do 1 per page. So we've got page 1 to 1, page 2 to 2, and page 3 to 3. And then we can just create 3 new transaction files. And then we can see we've got the first one, that's the first receipt, the second one, that's the second receipt, and the third one, that is the third receipt here as well. So then you can action on these and post them to the ledger. One more small note I'll mention here. This is a little improvement that, apologies if you were previously frustrated by this, it would be very understandable. And that is you can now clear classes, locations, and customers. So you now just have this little X and you can clear that off since classes are not required for being able to post a transaction. All right. And last but not least, this is actually a combined improvement in both receipts and in the portal. And that is in the new portal, if you go to your files, you can not only see all of the files that you as the bookkeeper, or the client can not only see all the files that you as the bookkeeper have made available to view in the files tree, but also there is now this new My Receipts tab. And in the My Receipts tab, the clients can see anything that they have uploaded, whether they've uploaded it directly here to the portal, or even whether they've emailed it into the receipts inbox. So for example, if we just click one open, you can see we've got this like cab fare. And then what is really nice, the clients can go in and add a memo. So they can say like, this was for travel for the XYZ conference. Save that. And then that will propagate back to receipts. So you as the bookkeeper can see what something was for, and they can provide that without you needing to pester them. Similarly, if they do something like forward in an email, you can also, the client can also then go in and edit that and add more detail if it's relevant. All right. One more client portal upgrade I'm going to talk about is resource templates. If you have a resource, like if you have a, I guess, resource template, if you have a set of resources that you like to commonly make available to all of your clients, resource templates are the way to do that. They work exactly the same as task templates or any of the other templates that exist within Keeper. But basically, the idea is you can now create a template. And then when you're ready, you can apply that to one or multiple clients the same way that you can apply task templates in Keeper. So hopefully this should be really helpful, especially as you're starting, some of you who are starting to roll out the portal across all clients. This is a great way to just take all of that information and make it available or update it en masse as well. Okay, got a couple more set of things to walk through. Next is another closed beta feature. So some of you who have been waiting very patiently for this functionality don't have it yet. But I am super excited to talk about the new upgrades that we've made to our P&L Builder inside of Keeper. And that is the ability to now edit layouts. So similar to what you can do within Xero today, you can now build out custom groupings inside of the profit and loss inside of Keeper. So for example, you can take, let's see if we want to show something here. So we've got, if we wanted to take repairs and maintenance and supplies and then group those together, we can do that here. Let's see, repairs and maintenance and supplies. We can group that as a selection. Maybe we want to call it MRO. Of course, we can also do things like include accounts by code within a range, or that start by a certain prefix. But we can go ahead and create that group. And then we've got our group here, MRO. You can also even drag and drop stuff around. So if, for example, we wanted this to be in COGS, we can just go ahead and drag it into COGS. And then done. And then we just rerun this report here. And now we've got our MRO that's inside of our COGS account. So that is in a private beta today, but should be rolling out generally to all Xero users in fairly short order. All right, and last but not least, a couple of improvements I want to talk about in the timers. So in your time tracking, especially if you use time tracking and need to export, let's say, the last couple of weeks for payroll or some particular time range for billing purposes, you can now select a custom export range for your start and end time inside of this dashboard. So if you only wanted to see time tracked from the 1st through the 13th, for example, you could see all of those right here. So that's one improvement. Next is we added some further restrictions on the time tracking settings here. So if you want to prevent standard users from being able to make edits, you can enable this setting here. And then if a standard user wants to edit a timer, if they started a timer late and they needed that edited, they would just need to ping an admin, and the admin can take care of that for them. And then coming soon, we're also introducing, this is not quite in Keeper yet, so I usually avoid talking about this, but just because it's so relevant, we're also working on rolling out a sort of hard lock on timers, where timers after a certain period of time won't be editable anymore. So it will work very similar to how locking the books in QuickBooks works. You just say, like, anything before this time shouldn't be editable, and that's how it will work. All right. Well, that was the crash course of all of the new latest and greatest functionality inside of Keeper. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up my spiel here and turn on over into the Q&A and answer some questions. Okay. Kelly asked, for non-transaction questions, can we still update a question once it is sent, or once it is sent, we have to send a correction? I'm not quite sure I follow, but you can edit transaction, or you can edit non-transaction questions after they have been sent. So we've got a task here, and then you can just edit it, or we've got a question here, and you can just edit it and make a change. Okay, Carmen asked, is it possible for resolved transaction questions to still show the transaction detail so they can now see what they were responding to? I'm not quite sure I'm following the question. So Carmen, if you could add a little bit more color in a Q&A, a follow-up Q&A, I will get back to this question. Okay, Ty asked, how do we advise our clients where to download the mobile app? Great question. There's not a mobile app yet, although very possibly that I might have a different answer for you this time next month. But the mobile view that I was showing in the portal is still the mobile web view. So that would be, if your portal is clients.mypracticename, they can just still go there in mobile Safari or click the link they've been emailed. But yeah, mobile app should be, we should have some exciting announcements about that soon. Okay, I see a couple of folks mentioning that they don't have this option, or how do they opt into this? So this is in a beta that's being gradually rolled out. A bunch of y'all have already signed up for this beta, and we're rolling out invites to that shortly. I'll also pull together the actual form you can use to fill that in. Or Shayna, if you know where that is, you can grab that. Otherwise, we will send that out in the Thursday morning email update as well, so that you can sign up for that. Karina asked for the Q&A chat on the firm side, will you be able to see what contact from the client answered? If there are multiple contacts on the account, the answer is yes. So now on the client side, you're always able to see who answered a question. Julie asked, how can you add that additional column to the account reconciliation? Okay, so presumably Julie is talking about this column right here, timestamped balance. That is a setting that you can enable. I believe it is in tasks. That's a good question. Our settings have finally trumped me. File reviews. No.
In tasks, you got it. I think it's at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yes. Cool. All right. Yeah. So closed setting here called account reconciliation timestamped balance column. If you turn this on, you will see this timestamped balance column, which basically gets timestamped as of the date you reconcile the account. And by that, we mean mark this account as reconciled in Keeper. Okay, Susan asked, how can I please show again how to turn on the updated client portal? So if you have access to the beta, you can go to your practice settings, client portal, branding, and then you should see that in the top right-hand corner, the option to upgrade from V1 to V2. However, not everyone has this. To get access to that, go ahead and sign up for the beta, but we will also be rolling this into an open beta fairly soon. Ty asked, are there any video or YouTube instructions for clients on how to use receipts? No, but that's a great idea. We should definitely add that. So we'll put that on the list. I know we are working on rolling out a bunch of good training resources to our YouTube channel. So that definitely seems like a good one to add as well. Kirsty asked, will the resource templates override the resources that are currently listed? The answer is yes. So a resource template will overwrite anything that is currently in your resources. So if you have stuff that's unique in those resources, you cannot use resource templates to like append to that. Aneta asked, where can we find the receipts email address for clients? There's a few places you can find that. First is if you're in the client uploads inbox, it's right here, forwarding email. And if you don't see this, there will be an option to just add the email. Also, if you're in your portal here, by the way, these are all like the same tabs at the top. So client uploads is here, portal settings is here. You'll also see this is the forwarding email here as well. Okay, Cindy asked, is there an update on the Keeper iPhone app? There is not this month, but make sure to tune in next month, and I am sure I will have a different answer. Okay. Angela asked, what is the expected rollout date for the new portal experience? Over the next few weeks, we will be gradually rolling out more and more beta invites, and then we'll open this up to an open beta, which means anyone can upgrade. So right now it's in what's called a private beta, which means you have to like request access. And then in fairly short order after that, we'll go to what's called GA. So basically, it's very robust right now, but we want to give folks the opportunity to opt into it. New functionality always has its quirks, and we do our part to iron them out, but that is why it is in a beta. Aneta asked, is there a way to choose what files clients can see? We may not want all contacts to see the same thing. So you cannot choose, you can give someone files access or not, which means they will or will not see the files here. But if you have given them files access, everyone sees the same thing in all files. Okay, Connie asked, under client portal inbound questions, I do not see the last option I reviewed. Connie, you'll have to remind me on the last option I reviewed here. So if you could let me know which option you're seeing, or feel free to write into our chat support. We will take a look at that as well. All right, Nicholas asked, is a Google Drive or Dropbox plugin or sync being considered? Sorry if a little off topic, no need to apologize. That is definitely something we are looking into. So I don't have any sort of ETA on any of that, but if you go to the canny, which I think Lauren has posted in our chat, you'll see that it's quite highly voted. So we read our canny pretty intensely, and so you don't have to scroll too long before you see that is definitely something that other folks requested as well. An anonymous attendee asked, when duplicating receipts, does the original receipt go away? It does not. So that's what duplicating means. So if we go back to that client uploads inbox, so we had those examples that we duplicated. That's 1, 2, and 3 here. But the original PDF here that contains all of those files still exists. Jeremiah asked, from a permission standpoint, are there any user permissions for non-admins that restrict things like access to viewing client info or changing staff assignments? We have various rules, including an offshore team who we want to be able to limit what they can do and see. We are actually working on internally an upgraded additional user role that will give even more flexibility here. Although I did want to mention one setting that may be helpful for what you're looking for, which is in practice settings and tasks. We have the ability to what are called lock standard users. This restricts standard users from performing various actions like adding new sections or reordering sections, also deleting or editing task details, or changing things that changing like who a task is assigned to, when it's due, and so on. So if you really want to lock down a standard user's experience, you can turn on locking tasks. That will still let the users create their own tasks. But then after they create them, they are able to delete them within that session. But like if they created a task and tried to come back a week later, they wouldn't be able to delete that. So yeah, that's lock standard users, which is in your task settings in practice and statements. Okay, an anonymous attendee asked, how can I change the color of the financial report on the cover page and the P&L bar chart on the executive summary of the reports? Great question, and we are on the right page for it. So practice statements, statements and reporting, and then you have a color settings option right here where you can change your accent color. So just to show what that looks like here, I'm gonna go over here into reporting, and we can see we've got our current accent color is this light blue. This is a practice level setting, by the way. So if you change this, it will change it for all statements. So here we've got that accent color. And if we wanted to change that to, let's say, a bright red, we can do that here. And then you'll see that changes the accents here. And that also changes the accents here. Go ahead and change that back. And you can see that changes all the accents as well. Kathy asked, how do we sign up for the beta? We'll send out the link for this shortly after it. I don't have the link on hand, but we'll send that out. And then once you sign up, we should be able to get you access. Katie asked, where does the announcement show up on the new dashboard? Great question. I will show you. Let me go ahead and turn on our announcements. So here, if I turn on the client portal announcement, go back to the dashboard and refresh the page, you'll see it shows up right here. Isaac asked, when we split receipts documents, the scanned info that's automatically filled in remains the same. It would be great if we could hold off on scanning until we confirm if the file is split and ready. That makes sense. Another thing that also makes sense is just to rescan the documents once you perform the split, which is also something that we are considering. So definitely aware that's something that we need to improve. I'll actually write that down. Okay, and folks who are just asking, who have been asking for how to get access to the receipts beta, Lauren in the chat just posted that. So it's the latest message in the chat right now, if you want to go in and fill that out. Aneta asked, do you have to turn on receipts for a client? Only if you want to use receipts, I guess would be my answer to that question. But if you do want to use receipts, then yes, you can turn that on by going to the client uploads inbox. And instead of seeing a transaction files table, you will see a button to turn on transaction files. One thing to note, that can only be performed by admins and super admins. Karina asked, is the custom grouping on the P&L available for QBO? And if so, does it affect the QBO chart of accounts? Right now, the answer is no, it does not affect. It is not available in QBO. It is just the Xero only functionality. Christine asked, can you show us how we can see the portal from the client's view? So yes, what I've been doing here to see this is I added my own personal email or just my user email as a contact in this client file so that I can essentially log into the portal. That's a good way to just click around and see what the experience looks like for the clients. Another option here, and this is actually built natively into the product, is if you go to your portal and you want to see what the experience looks like for a particular user, for example, you can just click this preview button, and that will show you what that experience looks like for them exactly. Anonymous attendee asked, what is the fee for receipts? Keeper receipts is, so right now while it's in beta, it's discounted to $5, but when it goes to GA, it is $15 per client. Karina asked, do we have an update on being able to code receipts by products or services? It is something that we are working on. So it's not live today, but definitely planned for the next few months.
We have one in the chat too, kind of on that topic about, is there any update regarding when the receipts feature will be available for Xero clients?
Yeah, I don't have an update on this one as well. We are working on getting receipts to GA with QuickBooks first, basically. And then we will sort of rebuild all that functionality. We didn't want to right now, while things are in beta and they're very close to being released into GA, as we've shipped a few of these sort of key features, but we didn't want to have to pivot and backtrack on two ledgers at once. So that's why we are focusing on QuickBooks right now. Cindy asked, similar to another question, can Keeper be used to publish a sales receipt transaction? Not yet, but that is something that we're working on. Linda asked, any update on when receipts will work for deposits? Also, similar answer. That one should come a little bit sooner. But yeah, working on adding the ability to support deposits in fairly short order. An attendee, anonymous attendee asked, is there a sample portal to show prospective clients with sample transactions for branding and financial reports? Not currently, but that is definitely something that we have been exploring internally. So for now, if you wanted to do that, what I would recommend doing is just creating an unconnected client that would have unconnected clients are free. So you can create like example client in your portal, ask a couple of questions, and then use that to show your clients how a portal could look. An anonymous attendee asked, are colors still customizable on the client portal? I am trying to upgrade the background color so it's not white and it doesn't change. Yeah, they should still be customizable. We can do that here live. And if they're not, then that would be one of the reasons why Keepers, this is still in beta. But so right now we've got our background color as this gray. We wanted to make our background color all black. I think that is all Fs. Nope, that is all zeros. Okay, yep, it looks like that probably is a bug. So we will update it. Thank you, anonymous attendee. All right, under non-transaction questions, if a client uploads more than one file to a question, is there a way to download all of those files at once? I'm actually not sure, but we can see. No, you have to download them one by one, but we could add an option for that. That doesn't seem too bad. Okay. It looks like that is all of the questions we have today. So I will give folks maybe another minute or two, come up with any last remaining burning unanswered questions. And then we will go ahead and wrap things up for the month. And another anonymous attendee asked about receipts pricing. How much is it after the beta and when? So it's $15 per receipts is $15 per connected client per month after it exits beta. And we expect it should exit beta probably within the next month or so. No, I don't have a hard time on that. There's a couple of other key features we want to get into place. Primarily, biggest one, I've been alluding to this on the last call, is the mobile app. So that's a big feature that I think should be your expectation of what a generally available receipts product looks like. And so so probably within the next month or so, it will exit beta. Kathy asked if we could drop the link to the training library. Shane, I'm not sure if you have quick access to that. I could try and find that. Otherwise, we can send it out in a follow-up email. I think this would just be Keeper's YouTube channel.
Yeah, running a bookkeeping.
Which I think would be here. So hopefully that link works. All right. Okay, one more question here. Do we anticipate having an add task button from the main screen? We sort of do have one. I guess it sort of depends on what you want here. But if you wanted to be able to add let's say a non-closing task to DemoCo, you can actually do that right from here. So you can click open the tasks in your quick view and then click add task here. And that will let you add a task without needing to go directly into that client file. The same goes for other like closing tasks here as well. Basically, you just click into the quick view, which is the cell on the client list that contains the section that you want to add that task to, and you can add the task there. All right. Okay. Well, it looks like that's all the questions for today, folks. So we're going to go ahead and draw this webinar to a close. Thank you all so much for taking the time today. I hope you appreciated some of the new features that have come out in Keeper over the last month. And we appreciate your continued feedback on how to make the product better, both in Canny as well as in email and chat and otherwise. We're building this thing for y'all, so we appreciate it. And we appreciate the opportunity to join y'all here today and continue the conversation. So thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your July. Hope your August closes or your July closes get off to a good start on Thursday.